Hey, welcome back to Visions Now Supper Club. All views expressed for their educational and journalistic purposes, they're not the views of the management, advertisers of 92.1 FM. However, Visions does desire to bring a quality entertainment program which intellectually stimulates and culturally fulfills our community's needs to develop leadership and inform decision-making for our collective future. Welcome to the village. Often imitated, but never duplicated. I'm Dr. Jaylene Hood, your host and executive producer. Welcome.
How they treat you is exactly how they feel about you. So don't let a person tell you or show you more than once that they don't care about you. How they treat you is exactly how they feel about you. So don't let a person tell you or show you more than once that they don't care about you.
I'm never saying that you loving your children, if you can afford to, sending your children to private school ain't something. But we must stop the mentality that is better than what you already have.
I feel what you're saying.
What you have is enough. What you have, if you have genuine curiosity and the encouragement to do better, it's enough. I had an encyclopedia. I went to public schools and I scholarshiped in the Morehouse. And to some of y'all chumps, that might not mean anything. But when you start to look up the historic value of the university I went to, you start to understand for a poor child who grew up 4 miles away from that college, it was nearly impossible. My pediatrician came to Morehouse with a bag. Dr. Otis Smith, one of the first millionaires I ever met, man told me I'm a millionaire, blew my mind. Was an investor in real estate developments and stuff when I was young. Man came to Morehouse in a bag. He said my parents couldn't afford to buy me luggage, but they knew if I made it into that university, I was going to somehow make it out. He didn't sweat going to Yale or Harvard. He didn't run down to Auburn, Alabama. He went to Morehouse. And I'm just simply saying, black people, pride is more than February saying I like being black. Pride is an actionable thing that I must and will do. If I believe in myself and believe in this shit I'm saying, at some point I have to make a conscious decision to show it. My Indian friends get fucked up, hang out with me, do all kind of wild shit, and all of a sudden I see him at one of them cousins' wedding. I don't even recognize that nigga because he's standing in line for his culture. And all I'm saying to black people is you have a culture to be proud of. And Queens, New York might not support that culture in the same way Atlanta, Georgia does. But in Atlanta, Georgia, you have a potential to be Wakanda. Your private school options are different there. You can go to a Brown private school, but stop thinking what you produce isn't good enough. This is the same thing any other cola is.
You just gonna let them shit on Queens like that?
No, I love Queens. Best rappers ever in the world. Stop.
Don't do that. Don't do that, Charlotte. Don't do that.
Queens has produced more MCs than any other borough. I'm gonna let them finish. And 2 of the greatest DJs. I'm gonna let them finish. But this is not personally at you. This is for black people that are in Arkansas, Alabama, Mississippi, North Florida. You know what? Most black people live in this country.
Yeah.
The Southeast. who you are is good enough to become who we're supposed to become. But you got to have that faith and belief in yourself. If you choose to be a teacher, your life mission has to become educating Black children to matriculate them through trade schools or through college to be better for our community. And for the greater community, it's our job to cooperate so that we participate in the greater community. I'm never saying that you loving your children if you can afford.
We are right here inside of Mastaba that has over 300 rooms. This brother formed his Mastabas for his whole family, like a home with rooms and many rooms, and look how large it is. And we're talking about doing the old kingdom. And he was a Tajeti, or what is known as a vizier for Teti. Now, what was his job? What did he do? He looked over all the others who were the builders of the Mastabas. He also was the overseer of the crafts in the area. Now, what relationship can we connect that to what we know today? That is masonry. This is where he was the overseer of, he was the grand master of all the crafts, all the workers in this area. So he was a very serious grand vizier that would be equivalent to somebody like Imhotep. We are right here inside of Mastaba that has over 300 rooms. This brother formed his Mastabas for his whole family, like a home with rooms and many rooms, and look how large it is. And we're talking about doing the old kingdom. And he was a Tajeti, or what is known as a vizier for Teti. Now, what was his job? What did he do? He looked over all the others who were the builders of the Mastabas. He also was the overseer of the crafts in the area. Now, what relationship can we connect that to what we know today? That is masonry. This is where he was the overseer of, he was the grand master of all the crafts, all the workers in this area. So he was a very serious grand vizier that would be equivalent to somebody like Imhotep. We are right here inside of Mastaba that has over 300 rooms. This brother formed his Mastabas for his whole family, like a home with rooms and many rooms.
You don't think Black women respect Black men?
No. Most Black women don't even respect their Black dad. Start there. And it stems from the absence of their father and the words of their mother. I want to say it again. You ask me, where does it stem from? It stems from the absence of their father, who don't have a voice, and the words of their mother. The words of their mother shape the respect that they have for their father, because he's absent. Respect your father in my house. Remember that?
Yeah.
The absence of the father, but the words of the mother says you're going to respect this man in my house. Daddy wasn't there. The words of the mother, huh?
You don't think Black women respect Black men?
No. Most Black women don't even respect their Black daddy.
If you cannot go into the sun for 40, 45 minutes, then you and I cannot be friends. The reason is because high blood pressure and autoimmune disease occur least at the equator. This is the area that they call the tropics because it's always hot and humid. It's the craziest thing when I see people here in the Dominican Republic and even in Africa walking around with umbrellas. And I'm saying to myself, chances are your ancestors spent hours and hours in the sun. So now you're walking around with an umbrella. A girl told me yesterday, don't get too black. Don't be in the sun too long. And I'm saying to myself, people always, they say this, but when have you seen Black people getting skin cancer? When? Realistically, in your heart of hearts, what is the percentage? So you're eating starch diets in these places rice, yuca, plantains. You're eating starch diets, but you don't want to be in the sun. You don't want to be darker. She said, yeah, you don't want to get darker. That's where the health is. There's no way, man or woman, I don't understand how you could be with somebody that can't be in the sun. And you can't say even so-called white person or European descent. The Slavic people, that's where the word slave came from. Slavic people. So white people were also enslaved, and you can be in the sun. It depends on how you take care of yourself, but that's where the health benefits are. They even named a day after it called Sun Day. So there's power in being in the sun. Don't run from it. If you cannot
I just showed you the Maya numerals. I just showed you the Olmec numerals. Now watch this. Here we go right here. Maya. Right? That's 6. The bar is 5. The dot is 1. So bar and the dot means 6. Bar and the dot means 6. 2 bars is 10. See that? Oh, we learning today. The corn rolling today. Yeah, we learning today. Now watch this. I just showed you the Maya numerals. I just showed you the Olmec numerals. Now watch this.
We know the truth now here. This is the Olmec numeral system. This is the Mayan numeral system. Now look at the bar with the 3 dots. Bar with 3 dots. Tamari, bar with 3 dots. That is the same number 8 in the Olmec and Mayan numeral system. We know the truth now.
About the brainwashed Africans. 1. Denial. You can preach historical facts to these Negroes and they'll still be in denial. Most of our people are brainwashed. They believe that there are some good white folks out there. They believe that some magical glowing man is going to come out the skies to save us. They believe that they aren't African, and they believe that this white boy is superior to them. This is most of our people. That's why we'll have to leave these Negroes behind, because they are too far gone. 2. White supremacy. The brainwashed Africans is what's keeping white supremacy alive. In fact, these Negroes are willing to do the white man's job. Take your favorite gangster rapper, for example. These Negroes rap about disrespecting the black woman and killing black men over some stupid disagreement. Most of these brainwashed Africans are the Ku Klux Klan of the black community. The truth about the brainwashed Africans. 1.
She didn't sell her soul. They bought it. Before she ever knew it was hers, they handed her a 360 deal with chains dressed up as diamond necklaces. Her image, manufactured. Her lyrics, filtered. Her power, silenced. She can rap about sex, pain, and money. But never truth. Never revolution. Never freedom.
Because the moment she tries to uplift her people, she's muted, blacklisted, replaced. They don't want her to liberate young girls. They want her to keep them blind. This isn't just music. It's a script. And she's trapped on stage, wearing diamonds, with no voice. She didn't sell her soul. They bought it. Before
See, these young girls, they don't know what to do with these men. That's why they leave them off and go run off and go get to whoever. See, these young girls don't know what to do with these men. They don't even listen to them. All they want to do is cuss them out and scream. The men don't be wanting that. See, the thing about it is, you don't want your man to cheat. You better give him some, you give him some. Cook for him. And they don't guarantee he's not going to do what he do, but I bet he act right because he wants you to do it. I've been with Charles for years. Charles ain't never left me. Charles ain't never left me, and I'm always having it my way. When Charles have a long day at work, I go in there and I, run his bath water, put some Epsom salt in there, soak him up, rub his feet, oil him down, I do things for Charles. Them young folks don't know what to do. I always listen to Charles, and I always get him thoughtful gifts. Get him nice things that nobody ever thought of. Charles is a hard-working man, so, I always make sure Charles is on point. And that's what I tell these young girls. You got to treat these men good. Because if you don't treat them good, somebody else will. Somebody else will. You got to treat these men good, baby. Keep them fed and keep them fucked, Keep it on them, girl. Girl, keep them fed and keep them fucked. And listen to them. As long as you listen to him, you can solve all his problems. He ain't never going to leave you. He might slip around, but he ain't going to leave you. Your bills will be paid and you ain't going to have nothing to worry about. What's wrong with these young girls? They don't know what to do for these men. They just want to be on Don Julio, eat lemon pepper wings and hookah, and go to the club. That's it. See, these young girls, they don't know what to do with these men.
Black history didn't start with slavery. It started with empires, long before Europe ever rose to power. Kemet, Mali, Songhai, Kush, these weren't tribes. They were civilizations with systems, science, and sovereignty. But when power shifted, history was rewritten and Black brilliance was buried. Racism isn't natural, it was engineered, a political tool to justify slavery, theft, and control. Schools won't teach this, not because it isn't true, but because it threatens the structure of lies they built. They erased the contributions, twisted the language, and turned melanin into something feared. But the truth is bigger than pain. It's economic, it's spiritual, and it's powerful. Black history is world history, and real education begins when you're ready to unlearn everything. Follow at Black Knowledge Network, because knowledge was never lost. It was hidden. Black history didn't start with slavery. It started with
Hello, visionaries. This is Dr. J. Aleem Hood, the host and executive producer for Visions Now, and also your Mystic brother. That's right, with the Mystic Moment, 92.1 FM, Smooth R&B, every Thursday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. And we're the one that said, help us help you. And what we're trying to do is that we're trying to get money into our community. We spend too much money with other people that don't do nothing for our community. All of this water here, that we are here for fundraisers for you, okay, to help us provide resources for our programs for our young people. We were just in Elizabeth County yesterday. We're going to be going to Warren Williams, going to be going to Fowley Homes. We're coming to a neighborhood near you. But the bottom line is that if you have an athletic team, they need to be drinking real water. This is water not from Walmart. This is from the Black Wall Street Network. We have to bring our dollars back home. We're making everybody rich, okay, and also making us emotionally poor because we don't support each other. So if you have a business out there, a restaurant, or you know somebody, or you just want to get some water for your own personal use,
This is the best water in the business. None better. God made this water. It's artesian spring water. Artesian. Don't go by this. I'm not gonna call no name. That blue bottle and them all these other jackleg bottles. No, this is the real water. Hello, visionaries. Hello, visionaries. As always, it's always a pleasure to be with you. Of course, we're here on Thursdays, and Thunder Thursdays, to talk about all the issues. Now, don't be shy. I mean, there are too many things going on in the world. If you don't understand exactly what's going on, give us a call, 706-221-4830. Give us a call, put it in the chat. This is no time now to not know what's going on. I know I've been listening at some other programs and everything, and we're going to talk about a few issues about, if you don't realize, boy, I tell you, we really got it bad. I mean, we don't really even understand what's going on for real. I'm gonna try to figure out exactly, but I've heard that. There's several things. And Junior, how you doing today?
Blessed, feeling all right. Putting in the work day in, day out.
Oh, okay. Have you been hearing about in the news about the growing trend of measles? Have you been hearing anything about that?
I have not measles. No. I haven't.
Okay. Well, I've been hearing a lot of these shows that I listen to, of course, the measles, particularly in Texas. Okay. But it's saying the measles is making a comeback. And I guess one of the things that brings to mind is that we have a whole, and this is, we're going to have to start holding our professionals more accountable. I thought this is something that came to my mind during the coronavirus pandemic. And that is, we have physicians and many Black physicians of African descent. They're members of what we call the National Medical Association. There's the American Medical Association, AMA. That's basically the Euro-American, group. Then the National Medical Association is our cultural group.
Yeah.
But my problem is this: with all the different issues of health in our community, and we have a local chapter right here in Columbus. I don't know what they talk about. I mean, been here for years. And same thing with for the Black lawyers. There's the Black Lawyers Alliance, but I don't know what they talk about. So my point is that you would think that they would take advantage of these opportunities on these podcasts to let our community know what is the health status of Blacks in Columbus, Georgia. What is the status of heart attack, diabetes, HIV? In other words, what should we be alert to, and then what should we be doing?
Right.
Okay, yeah. But you never
their expertise.
Yeah, I'm trying to say, but they never come together to put out something for our community. We're gonna have to challenge them. I mean, because there's a Black Nurses Association. They used to do some things, but again, I just think that in these times when people don't know really what's going on to a great extent, and you hear a lot of things going on, but you don't hear any discussion really about what the health status is locally. Mm-hmm. What are some of the issues that our children are having?
Using their training to kind of help those that don't have, using, especially during these times.
And for people, and are there some, there's been a big thing now with RFK, Robert Kennedy Jr. over the Department of Health and Health and Human Services, I think it is. Okay, he's closing. He's removing some people from the CDC.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Center for Disease Control.
Yeah.
Okay, now there are some people. Now he's saying that for fluoride should be taken. Now, some of the things. I mean, I agree with.
Right.
that we shouldn't have all these artificial degrees. I mean, that's something I put on my page today. They were talking about folic acid.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that or not, but it's one of the things. But the guy was saying there's no such thing really. They made that up. But they say milk is fortified with folic. He said folic is, and really what it does is that it messes up the body chemistry.
Yeah.
But nobody talks about me. Nobody's talking about these things.
Kind of it's hard, but I do see what you're saying. In terms of our professionals, they will be, in terms of the everyday people, they don't have the training to spread that information.
Exactly. So the people who are physicians locally and things, they should, in their association, they all locally, they should be talking about, look, this is locally what we should be aware of. Our water quality here locally, it's like this. I mean, but it just saddens me, really. But there's have you watched news at all? Have you been watching news at all?
I did. The major thing that I heard was evidently some scientists resurrected one of their ancient friends, the wolf. It was an extinct wolf. Evidently, they.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear that about that one.
Yeah, right.
But they found the remains, the bones, or something.
I think they said they had some like cells or some type of DNA that they used to. Basically, it's like a clone, essentially.
Okay, so what was this wolf different from the wolf that we know about? So to speak.
Evidently, it was a species that existed in Rome, but I forgot when exactly the species went extinct. I think it might have went extinct during the Roman Empire. So it's just it's not really different, just a subspecies of the wolf, you could say. But I did recently see in the news that they invested some money in doing that.
So were they trying to get the breed back up and going or something?
I don't know. I was thinking about right after. I was like, what does this mean? Like, it could be just symbolic, or it might be they're trying to do something with it. Or,
right.
I'm not sure. I guess we will see over time.
Something to do with evolution, huh?
Yeah. Right now, I mean, the first thing I think is something symbolic. I'm sure that's what I'm thinking. You know?
Well, I know these Frankenstein people. So I mean, ain't no telling. There's no telling what they got on their mind. You know. Now, last week, of course, what's the date for the Let Us Make Man coming up?
Yes, it is April the 26th.
Okay. Now, of course, it'd be a good occasion for all organizations and, to bring, and it says it's for ladies, and it's not just for men, but it's about focusing in on the needs for our young boys in particular. We're saying that the church and everybody should gather. Did you go out with them last week? Did they come?
Yeah, I did.
Tell us a little bit about that. What you?
Excuse me. What we mainly did was flyer spreading. We passed out a bunch of flyers.
Where part of town?
We went to Forest Park. We made it by Ekandy. We passed out a few. We were going to pass out a few on campus actually, but
that's I was wondering.
Yeah, time we because they had they were on the time schedule, so we skipped over that. Those were the main two areas, and I want to say they went in. They said they came back the next day and went to some churches, but I wasn't there for that.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a good time. Good time. We was able to pass out a lot of flyers.
Okay.
Talk to a couple of people.
Right.
Kind of get the word up, and we'll be spreading giving out some more flyers basically tomorrow. On campus, but that's just on the campus with some different organizations.
Right. So how things coming on as far as kind of getting a little enthusiasm among students at Cummins State University campus? How's that?
Yeah, it's going pretty well. Really just kind of blending it in with the other happenings. So, for example, we have our NAACP meeting tomorrow, so we're passing out flyers there and telling them to let their friends know. The people that we have, seem pretty excited about it. So yeah, really just trying to keep people still focused on the things that we need.
Right, right. Now you in the communication with because I did get a chance to talk to Tanner today about some of the issues that the recipe is involved in. Have you been in contact with the state or with the local NAACP chapters, and if so, what kind of issues their collective thing, or just a matter of just kind of
I have
communicating?
I have been in contact with the local chapter. Really just getting their advice on how to run the organization, make sure that we're structured properly. So I'm making yawn. Gotta get all these yawns. But I've been in contact mainly with the local chapter, just contacting them and seeing, how to kind of make sure that we have, make sure that we're nationally compliant and stuff like that. Making sure that we kind of doing everything by the book, so that in the event that we could recruit some help from the state or from the national, we got everything in order. So those have mainly been the the lines of communication with the local chapter.
Okay. So they have not sent out like any particular initiatives that's going on nationally, anything like that to you?
Not since the Get Out to Vote. They did send some stuff by campus for that, but not since then. Not that I.
Okay, and of course, I'm really interested, of course, in the status of the Liberty Theater, and particularly bring the Liberty Theater home, so to speak. The Liberty Theater has been kidnapped, but and so therefore we wanted to come back home. And we think that some of our tax dollars, just like they go into things we don't use, this is something we will use. We want to certainly to make it a place that our community can have a place where they can, a safe space where they can be nurtured culturally and that type of thing. Now, so I guess my question is, in terms of the liberty. Of course, Reverend Mr. Jesse, he's convening I guess you call it a blue ribbon committee of persons who feel like they're stakeholders in the future of the liberty, and of course that there's a coup of sorts. They're trying to, for lack of a better term, whitewash the Liberty District.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering. How did the meeting come out last night? What are some of the expectations of the committee? Of course, yours truly. I'm on the committee. You're on the committee.
Yeah.
What were the main points that came out of the meeting last night?
From what I got, the major thing was the creation of what committees we're going to start with. I believe it was finance and fundraising committee, boundaries committee. These are just the ones discussed. I think they'll be finalized at the next meeting.
Okay.
It was just maybe two or three other committees that were kind of talked about, basically.
Right.
They haven't been again pretty set in stone.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the major discussion yesterday. And from what I did get on about 20. I missed about 25 minutes, but it would last maybe about an hour or so. But so the part I did catch was mainly the formation of those.
Now I understand that there's going to be a meeting about the Liberty Theater future. Now there are some people who raise questions about why would they put certain people over the Liberty Theater and the Liberty District if they're not really attuned to the heritage of that area. They could have done a different kind of task there, and I guess I don't know if, anybody. If you talk to anybody that kind of has some question about, I know that they have a new plan, and I get the impression that there's some trickery involved. But again, that we're having to try to modify the plan that they're putting forth, so that the Liberty District would truly be a space that has the vibration and the culture of the American African experience front and center. Yeah. But it seemed to be a little bit of trying to water that down a little bit, even to, I mean, the other, someone talked about an amphitheater, and that don't make any sense to me. You got $3 or $4 million. Put that into the Liberty Theater, so that we need to expand the capacity of the Liberty Theater. I think now probably about 200 or 300, but it needs to be at least maybe 900, 1,000 people capacity where you can have more banquets and events and anniversaries and weddings and all that kind of thing. And because right now, and I guess that's what I'm trying to say, right now, the money is going to Green Island Country Club, it's going to St. Luke rental hall, and of course it's going to the Trade Center. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that thing, but it's just that we got to preserve our own history, and we need to invest in events, in the venue, so that we can assure that that we that we're going to be able to. I hate to ask the question. Well, what would the young people say 50, 75 years from now when they don't have no space, and they said, well, why didn't our ancestors, why didn't they do something about it? Why did they leave us with no place our own? So everywhere we are, we it's like we're a tumbleweed. Right. I mean, we don't have no presence in the place other than a marker here, a marker there. But but actually a space where people can actually come to learn more about us. With the theater, I'd like to see movies. First run movies by Black filmmakers and others who have themes that can enhance the experience of the American African community. Even red carpet type things, all that could be a part of the club. That type of thing.
I don't see there's no reason that we can't.
Yeah, it's a must. Right. That type of thing. So we just want to make sure that we kind of do that. As far as the Liberty Theater, so I could see whereby the college students doing things at the Liberty where the everyday children in our community could come and interact with them from a cultural standpoint and that type of thing as well. Hotline number 706-221-4830, 706-221-4830. Give us a call. Don't just sit back and, I don't know what's going to move you. Is the gun going to move you? Is the alcohol going to move you? Is the good book going to move you? What? Again, we're saying that if you got questions about things, give us a call. Okay, and let's address these things. Have you heard that was some reels from this brother in Africa that I want to also for listening audience to hear. He's the new leader, military leader, but he's quite a he's surprised. I don't know what surprising is the right word, but he's very bold and outspoken and seemed to be making a difference in Burkina Faso. And investing in the children, investing to make sure the elders are okay, make sure the streets are safe, that type of thing. So it's quite inspiring, to hear him and the things that he's providing.
Changes out the status quo.
Right, exactly. I guess another issue, is that Again, I always ask what are college students? What are they talking about this week? I mean, the ones you talk, is there anything in their mind? Are they aware of what's going on with the tariffs? Are they aware about some of these executive orders? See, that's another thing about it also. College students should be the ones reading those things and translating to our community what they mean for us.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of what you're doing. I mean, you're not just going to get a job. You're going to educate so that you understand what's going on in the world, so that you can provide the information to your community, and we can make sound decisions about how we want to spend our time, how we want to spend our money, what type of institution we want to design, we want to keep, what time we want to let just have a natural death, that kind of thing, And I don't know, it's
making it digestible, breaking it
right,
down.
Exactly. So let's see here. Another issue, I guess, is the issue of survival, and I just think that that we need to. I don't know. We need to have a caucus of people. I guess I don't think we're a caucus, but a circle where we're discussing what type of vegetables should be grown this season, and because a lot of grocery stores are closing, others are going to be going up high. So if someone has some ideas about what we preppers should be doing, because now we're saying that get your water, order your water. We got a special deal on water. Not just bootleg water. This is artesian spring water. It's actually the top quality water that has all the vital minerals in the water that helps us stay healthy and our immune system and everything. So I've been proudful that we're going to, be able to make the right decisions about our community, and making sure that we do all that we can for our children would not feel hopeless and don't feel like the community is their enemy. I mean, because that right now they got to feel that way because they tearing it up. So that they can't think it's your friend, that type of thing. So we definitely going to do something, have to do something about that. Also, we are just thinking about it, and the next week maybe we'll get into a little bit more. But the Elders Council, from the SCAP, we're still vibing off of that conference that we had, and we're forming an Elders Council, and I'll be getting forth with some new information about that in terms of what the function is, the goals, and all that type of thing. But the idea is that for people who are, as a rule, 55 and older, that we would basically have a weekly opportunity for them to to learn basically how we can really make a difference in our community. But again, we have to be taught. I mean, because it's like that. I don't know why people think it's like this. If we already were doing what we need to do, then our community would not be in the shape that it's in. So therefore, obviously, we need to be doing something different, bolder, quicker, bigger. I don't know, but we need to be doing something that says that assures our survival economically, in this community, because that seems to be the kind of the battleground coming up now with the people talking about bar costs and things. That's over. I think all those things are fine, but in the meantime, there should be some real serious meetings about, hey, what kind of businesses can we attract? Can we own? I mean, that's the part there.
Secure our survival.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we can take a break here. Because we can play some more video or what have you. But just wanted to. By the way, we probably have some information about the what kind of workshops will be taking place at the Elizabeth McMahon event as well. And then that's going to be meeting with those people who are interested in the Liberty Theater. That's going to be a meeting. Is it next Sunday at 5 o'clock? I think it is next Sunday at 5 o'clock. And I plan on being there and just seeing how I can help to assure that another generation has the pleasure and the honor of basically been a part of this movement to preserve our heritage, So, but we'll take a little break here, and of course, we'll play some of the videos, and we'll come back with more Visions Now, your supper club, and we're the one that loves you, and always have, always will.
We can't be destroyed. And they've done everything and are doing everything to destroy us. But we are resilient, brother. You are a sign of it. And the fact that we are now in the condition that we're in, and nobody thinks that we could come back from this. In fact, it's written in the Bible, in the 37th chapter of Ezekiel. It talks about these dry bones in the valley. And the bones in the valley were talking to each other. And they were saying, our hope is lost. Our bones are dried. We are cut off from our pots. Now, you know bones don't talk. But this is the remains of a great nation in America. As you use the term disconnected, we are disconnected from each other and disconnected from ourselves, spiritually, mentally, economically, socially, politically. So these bones were talking, and God heard them. And he set a man down in that valley to speak to those bones. And that man spoke, and the bones shook, and the bones rattled, but they never came together. So the man went back to his sender and said, look, I've been talking to them, and they shaking, they rattling, but they're not coming together. And we have had some of the greatest orators, scholars, and teachers, and leaders to come to us. And everyone that came, we said, wow, that was great. We applauded. The bones shook. But when they left or were killed or were deported, here we are in the same condition. So when that man went back to God, he said, prophesy unto the winds, and let the wind blow on these bones. And the winds went out. Getting hotter, and it never been. And now with Mr. Trump in the White House, the winds are howling. And Mad Dog Mattis is on the way, coming to the hood. So if we don't want to get together, God will send forces against us now to force us to see how much we need each other. So we don't have long to stay in this condition, and we don't have long to be under oppression, and we don't have long to be imprisoned. Our time of liberation has finally come, and the God of justice has come to take our enemy completely down. And you will be free, like Martin Luther King said, free
World War I is from 1492 to 1775, when America was attacked by 7 countries simultaneously. For 283 years, they bombed this place. Russia took Alaska, Netherlands took Canada, British and England took the East Coast. Italy took Texas up to the Gulf. France took New Orleans up the Gulf. And Spain came around the West Coast down through Argentina, Chile, and up the backside. 7 countries attacked Black America. In 1775, we surrendered and lost the right to vote. They put us in slavery camps. They labeled them reservations, and the ones that did not go on reservations was labeled Negro. World War I is from 1492.
Hey, so look here, kid. Y'all know the pastor wife provoked me. So I went over there and knocked her down, cuz. So after I do that, cuz, I get home, man, I ain't gonna lie, I feel bad. My spirit feel condemned. So I pray to the man. I tell him, I said, Lord, I ain't gonna do that no more. I ain't gonna get myself caught up in nothing like that again with the pastor wife. That's over with. It wasn't 10 minutes, cuz. Here she come calling my phone. She said, baby, where you at? I said, I'm at home. She said, I need you to come take care of me again. I said, no, now. We ain't gonna do that now. We ain't gonna do that now another time, cuz that's over with. She said, what's your cash app? I sent her my cash app. She sent me $2,000. She said, now that $2,000 right there for the first time. I'm gonna send you $2 more when you leave from over here this next time. She said, I got a Mercedes or S500. She said, I'm gonna give you that. I've been trying to sell it. She said, it's nice. It's 2016. She said, I'm gonna just give it to you. She said, we've been getting money in this church for a long time. She said, I'm gonna take care of you. I'm gonna make sure you're straight. I said, Lord, is that you? I've been praying for a blessing. Is this you? Is this your way of blessing me? If it ain't, the devil, he knows just how to get me, cuz. He got money involved now. First it was monkey, now it's money. You gonna have to forgive me, big dog. I ain't gonna lie, I gotta get this. I got bills gotta be paid. It gotta be paid. For real, big dog. I gotta get my money, man. Forgive me. Yeah, I'm gonna be praying every day for forgiveness. Lord have mercy. All right, so look here, kid.
Mr. Muhammad, while we're talking about this very unique proposition of yours as expressed in the message to the black man and, of course, in all your philosophy, it's interesting to note that Abraham Lincoln once proposed or thought that all Negroes, perhaps for their own best interest, should be moved to a separate state. And Garvey, a great leader of the Negroes many, many years ago, proposed that the Negroes have their own state. He was never too successful. And if I remember correctly, the communists in the early 30s, at the height of the Depression, urged that the Negroes be given their own state in an effort to capitalize on their following, I presume. None of these ever came to fruition or were ever successful or ever interested too many Negroes. How do you figure that you today can get Negroes to leave this country of theirs and go elsewhere?
Well, I will not have any power to do, don't have any power to do any more than those teachers that preceded on the same subject. I myself don't have any power of myself, but God is with me to bring it about. And the time is with me.
How has your God, Allah, manifested himself in this presentation?
He have manifested himself in the person of a man, and with the knowledge of the end of the history that we has been in service to white people, and the time that we should be separating them. This knowledge was given by him, and he is the one that is backing it up.
Mr. Muhammad, while we're talking about this very unique proposition
You're raising especially a boy. I came from a household where it was just a mom. I had my grandfather and I had my pops, but there was no man in the household. I started arguing with females once I started to go through things. They got physical orders. You know why? Because I was an emotional boy. I didn't have nobody in the household to say, okay, look, this is not how you go about it. Go to the gym. I had to learn this from YouTube. I had to read books, go on YouTube, do these different avenues I had to learn. Grandpa telling me certain things, pops telling me certain things. But when you have a man in a household, the chances of that boy that's becoming a man to grow up emotional, 80% of the people that's in jail came from single household mothers. Meaning this, if I'm in a club and step on my sneakers, bro, what's up, bro? What you doing? Now guess what? Somebody died, somebody go to jail. You know why? Because that boy wasn't raised in a household with men. That's the problem in society, because females with the mindset that I don't need a man. That's the reason why we have females in this generation that's having kids that I don't need a man. Now they growing up without fathers. Now you got raising boys.
No, that's not for everybody's situation. That's not for everybody's situation.
When you're raising especially a boy, I came from a household where it was just a mom.
The Haitian revolts were set in motion by Jamaicans. Jamaicans, troublemakers, that they wanted to get rid of, so they sold them to plantations in Haiti. The Jamaican farmers sold them to plantations in Haiti. The most noted being Bookman, who decided he's going to be a priest. That he's a priest, and he wasn't going to work on the farm. So as a priest, he began to organize the Yoruba slaves and the solidification of the Haitian Revolution to the point, and he moved it so fast, Toussaint Louverture had to run to catch up with the revolution in order to lead it. The Haitian revolts were set in motion by Jamaicans. Jamaicans, troublemakers, that they wanted to get rid of, so they sold them to plantations in Haiti. The Jamaican farmers sold them to plantations in Haiti, and the most noted being Bookman, who decided he's going to be a priest. That he's a priest and he's going to work on the farm. So as a priest, he began to organize the Yoruba slaves and the solidification of the Haitian Revolution to the point, and he moved it so fast, Toussaint Louverture had to run to catch up with the revolution in order to lead it. The Haitian
All right, back. Welcome back to Visions Now, your supper club, and we're here just chit chatting as we do. Provide you, if you don't want to take advantage, that's fine. We provide you an outlet here to express yourself. I don't know if anyone want to come into the chat or not, but of course, so generally speaking, what's been on your mind this last on your friends discussion that you might have had with some of your friends? What are they still just talking about jobs? I mean, what are they talking about? Are they talking about doing any collective things for the community in terms of grocery stores or businesses? Yeah. I mean, what's the conversation like?
It's me trying to convince them to get on code.
How they translating what they what is in the executive orders and all these things? What are they like? Well, that ain't got nothing to do with me. That they thought of me.
I do know for a time generation, it's like we think white folks won't do it, or we think
y'all really doing it.
You know what I'm saying? Or we think it's not real, I guess, until it's a mob in the street for us. We think it's
that's not wise.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's not realistic.
Yeah, that's not wise. And plus, how you gonna beg somebody to do something for yourself that you're not willing to do for yourself?
Right.
I mean, they don't know what you. I mean, they too busy trying to. They got them trying to recombobulate America.
Exactly.
The broad economic system. Now, to me, I wrote a little note. along that line, and that is that people have gotten so oriented to politics. I'm not saying politics is not important. I'm saying that you don't really have good politics unless you have an agenda. If you are going to elect somebody to take up a seat, in a council or what, and that's it. You got to tell them what you want them to be negotiating. That's what a politician does. That they put forward an agenda that comes out of your wishes, your need, your desires to improve your life.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so that's part of the problem is that it's no accident why the politicians before each legislative session they meet with certain people. Yeah. Well, you know it or not, they meet with businessmen, they meet with general public people who got certain kind of issues or was education issues or health, whatever. No, they meet with those people and then they move forward to put together agendas, what we call legislation, and then try to get other people to go along with it to do that. But if you don't give them no agenda, then how are they going to navigate that?
There's like an empty gesture.
Yeah. I mean, like you giving them a blank check to write, and then when they don't write it the way you want it to be written, then you wonder what happened. Well, you didn't tell them not to do that. I mean, I mean, and of course, they're in now. You should say, look, you need to meet with your coming to your district and meet with us once a month, and talk about the issue. That we're not doing that. So the other thing about it is this: I hear some people talking about investing in the stock market, but the thing about it is that that was a video that the lady was identifying all the different businesses that said they're not going to support, equity.
Yeah.
In the marketplace.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I put it but I thought I sent it out. But again, it was a long list, and I don't know if we know this now. It's on New Era. If you look at things on New Era site.
In the group.
In Messenger.
Okay, no Messenger. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Kind of interesting. Actually, and they were just saying that it was I think was yeah. Okay, I'm not really sure, but it was a whole list of things that was being touted, and I'm pretty sure I put it on now. On my page. Okay. But again, it was just listening to this lady. She was reading all the different businesses that you spending money with all the time.
Yeah.
To let you know. Matter of fact, I think it's in the New Era Messenger. But I guess I'm just saying though is that the way my mind works is like this. If the President Trump sees, say, look, we're going to raise tariffs in order to reduce the competition of local, American grown businesses, products, and going to make it higher on people who are doing business in America from other countries. Okay, so that's for the general economy. Well, my thing is that the American African community has $1.5+ trillion annually income. But we need to be doing some kind of tariff as well. We need to be putting some boundaries on spending monies outside of our community and figuring out ways to spend more money inside of our communities. Buying, if we stay on the block, we need to put our money together to buy the other vacant houses unless somebody else going to come in and buy. I mean, in other words, we need to get shelf spaces in some of these stores and put products in there. In other words, we should be having our own agenda about our own Ujamaa carbon economic agenda going on there. But again, we're just so. I mean, maybe it is going on. I mean, like a place like Atlanta is going on, but here in Columbus, Georgia, I'm not sure if people. I'm not sure. We're talking about city council issues. Okay, let's take right now with Mr. Anchor and people. There's some righteous indignation about some council people in terms of how they went by. But the fact of the matter, from what I gathered, they didn't break the law. Maybe you didn't like it, you would like for it done another way, but they didn't do anything illegal. So therefore, I mean, it didn't meet your fancy. But so now the question becomes: how long do you continue to complain about it? Do you? At what point do you come up with an agenda? And of course, we have an agenda. Let me see what I think I have it in another room, but let's see here. Well, I don't have it right here, but
yeah, I definitely do.
But what I was looking for was I was looking for the agenda that that we put out our master plan for the liberty. And one of that's for the Liberty Theater. We have something for every facet of the community. But one thing about for the Liberty, we were saying that the Liberty has been a central part of our cultural enrichment as a community. And it's also a place where people should be able to come and partake to understand our life from the way we see it. Just like you go to the Springer, you look at what life of the Euro-American community and others, from their perspective. The Liberty Theater, and it was that place for us, so that people come and have a better understanding of who we are based upon our arts, our cultural expressions. But it seems like we're so busy trying to assimilate that we're not putting the time into trying to build spaces where our children can grow away from some of the toxic. We talk about what the kind of entertainment that children listen to. Well, where are they going to learn about how to listen to, even how to create other type? It's the Liberty Theater. I mean, that's the environment where you learn how to do positive things, like with the Hip Hop Summit, when we did Hip Hop Summit. The whole idea was we stopped cursing in lyrics. They're going to participate in the Hip Hop Summit, but they could not use profanity. Okay? So therefore, and that was a part of it. And they when they got into the creative part, they just had to be creative. And hey,
it's not about just doing this.
We put incentive there. If you win, then there's an incentive. We didn't just say stop doing. No, we put an incentive there. And so that's what I'm trying to say, that we have to put in, if we want our children to learn how to swim, well, we have to have pools in our neighborhood where they can learn how to swim. I mean, there needs to be training for lifeguards. If there are other children, I know back in the day, there used to be a lot of college students used to be at the pools. You probably remember at the pools, but most of them would not be from our community. And that was appreciative. But the thing about it was that the Park and Recreation Department, in my opinion, should say, okay, some of the other ethnic groups did not want to go into the American African community, because they just weren't comfortable with what was going on. So let us train some of them to be their own lifeguards. But that never happened because, again, we are so busy trying to assimilate, to get into their pools, get into their that we don't think about the fact that, look, why keep putting pressure on other people to create opportunities for you? And I just don't think it's fair, and I think that, and they don't think it's fair either. Now, there's a discussion today about whitewashing books, on the children's books on African history. Matter of fact, I have a sheet over here that talks a little bit about black inventors.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, for example, did you know, Julian, that the person that invented the air conditioner was a black man?
Yeah, I did.
Frederick Jones, 1949.
Frederick Jones.
The almanac that people read, the almanac.
Wow.
Okay, Benjamin Banneker, 1791. Now, you probably know more about this than I do. It's called the auto cutoff switch. You know what that is? The auto cutoff switch.
I think I do, yeah.
Okay, but it said Granville Woods did that in 1839. Now they said automatic fishing device. George Cook, 1899. A baby buggy. Did you know a black person invented a baby buggy?
I did not know they invented
Yes,
a baby
sir.
buggy.
William H. Richardson, 1889. Check this out. I hadn't really had no good homemade biscuits. And when I baking in a homemade biscuit, please let me know. I'd love to have some some buttered biscuits.
Right.
But the guy that did the get the biscuit cutter was Alexander P. Ashburn. And that was in 1875.
We were doing a lot back then. I wonder what happened.
I'm trying to tell you, blood plasma bag. Now, I kind of knew about this one. The blood plasma bag, Charles Drew, 1945. The chamber commode. You know what the chamber commode is? You know what a commode is, right?
Yeah.
Well, the chamber commode was invented by Thomas Elkins in 1897. A clothes dryer. The clothes dryer, George T. Sampson, 1971. I wouldn't. Well, I guess what? Yeah, 1970. That wasn't that long ago.
Right. Yeah.
1971, when the clothes dryer. Okay, so I grew up in a time when there was no clothes dryer. I knew that, but I just thought we couldn't afford it. Put on the clothes dryer. Exactly. The curtain rod, Samuel Scroton, 1892. The doorknob, Osborne Dorsey, 1878. A door stop. Osborne did that too in 1878. Egg beater.
Right.
You know what egg beater is, right?
Yeah,
We invented that too. Egg beater, Willie Johnson, 1884. The electric lamp bulb. Electric lamp bulb.
Yeah.
Well, I knew about that though. William Latimer, 1882. But guess what? The elevator.
Oh, yeah.
We invented that too. The elevator was invented in 1867 by Alexander Miles. The fire escape ladder.
Fire escape, yeah.
A black man. Fire escape ladder, Joseph Winters, 1878. A fire extinguisher, Thomas Marshall, 1872. A folding bed, Leonard Bailey, 1899. A folding chair. We invented folding chair too. 1911. Oh, that's the year the found the Cap outside. 1911. Folding chair, Nathaniel Alexander. The fountain pen. Now we weren't even supposed to be right. We weren't supposed to be right, but the fountain pen, Walter B. Purvis in 1890. Right. We came up with the fountain pen. Let's see here. A gas mask. Well, you know about that one, don't you?
I do.
Okay, who was that?
I don't know who. But I know.
Gary Morgan. You heard that name, haven't you? You know Gary Morgan. Yeah, he's one of the inventors. 1914. The golf tee. We invented that too.
Okay.
The golf tee, George T. Grant, 1899. Okay. The guitar. Robert Fleming Jr., 1886.
Yeah.
What about the hairbrush? Lydia Newman, 1898. The ice cream scoop. We invented that too. The ice cream scoop. Okay. 1897. Insect destroyer gun. We did that too. Albert Richardson, 1899. The ironing board, you knew about that, didn't you? You knew we discovered the ironing board, didn't you? You know about that? Well, let me tell you. The ironing board was discovered by Sarah Boone, 1887. What about a keychain?
Yeah.
We did that too.
Right.
The keychain was Frederick Loudon, 1894. See, my point is, they can take it, people can take it out of their book, but we that means that we got to teach it ourselves.
Right, yeah, exactly.
The church, y'all got to teach it. Mom and dad, you got to know it. I know it's that those kind of things don't bother me.
Exactly. Yeah.
We can write it. We publishing books.
Exactly.
We gonna put some stuff in our books.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, if they don't want, if their children don't know it, our children need to know it. If we don't, well, I mean, my point is that the adult people who want to fight about that, fine. I mean, you can do that. I mean, I think but in the meantime, we ain't gonna wait. It's just like somebody push you down in the mud. You know, you walk and somebody push you down, and you say, "Well, I'm gonna sit right here till you help me up." Hey, buddy, guess what? I push you down. Wait on me. Wait on me. Yeah, I took it out of my book. And okay, and I'm gonna be fussing with you right now until you put it back in your book. Keep on fussing.
Right, yeah.
You better write your own book.
Exactly.
Okay, that's my point. That's my point. The Lantern, Michael Harvey, 1884. The lawn sprinkler. Who knew? The lawn sprinkler. John Smith, 1897. I didn't know they were having lawn sprinklers in 1897. I guess it makes sense though. I guess I never thought about lawn sprinkler in 1897. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I guess apparently John Smith, 1897, the lemon squeezer. We did that too. John Thomas White, 1893. The door lock.
Don't knob, don't stop, don't lock.
The lock, Washington A. Martin, 1893. Now the lubricating cup, you know about that now. You heard about the lubricating cup now. I know you know about that.
No, that's for
the train
that's what it, yeah.
and all that kind of Elijah McCoy.
Elijah McCoy.
Yeah, come on now. You're a STEM guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay, what about a lunchbox, a lunch pail? 1887, James Robinson. Okay, what about
change brakes everywhere?
A mailbox. Guess what? Yes, we did. 1891, Paul Downing. The mailbox. Okay, the mop. Yes, we did. Thomas Stewart, 1893. Okay, here's one that I know you know this is Julia. Peanut butter.
Oh, yeah.
Who was that?
It's George Washington.
George Washington Carver. What was the year? 1896. And the pencil sharpener. John Love, 1897. That's just some Black history facts there. That's some Black history facts.
We wouldn't have had none without black folks.
That part. That part.
We've been out of doors.
Exactly.
Out of clothing.
Exactly. There's been a lot of discussions lately. I don't know. Have you heard about it? There's been discussion about hazing with fraternities and sororities and stuff. Have there been no discussion about that?
Yeah, I mean, since the death of the young man, it resurfaced. We did talk about it. It wasn't like a group discussion, but it has been talked about. Kind of procedures.
What have been some of the thoughts about it? What's some of the thoughts about it?
Well, generally everybody's like it's bad. Trying to think. That's mainly been kind of the rhetoric around it. Me, kind of what my 2 cents. I mean, of course, being familiar with different rites of passages, that's kind of the lens I look at it through. Not to say that, not to condone hazing,
Right.
but throughout history, rites of passage has been the time to rise up, I guess.
Yeah, see, and of course, I've been through a lot of rites of passage.
Yeah.
From Boy Scouts to a social club in Carver High School called the Viscounts, to Schroeder Club of Cap Alpha Psi, to the Masonic Order,
Yes, sir.
and to the upper room of Sufism. In other words, okay, and I wrote this little piece here, and I don't think I'm giving away any secrets here in what I wrote here. But I wrote this about hazing. As I would like to, now I read someone was saying something about, there are different people. Some people say, well, hazing don't have anything to do with Black people, and there's some yes and no, because fraternities come from Africa.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
Greeks learned fraternities from Africa.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what I wrote. I said, well, there's a historical framework for hazing, kind of like what you said.
Yeah.
I said, throughout our cultural history as Afro-Asiatic human, we have always had formal rites of passage. The root story opened with Kunta Kinte. The problem we have today is the rites of passage historically for Black people was prep for man and womanhood. Now, did you ever see? Have you seen Roots yet?
It was a while ago. What it is?
Okay, so Roots opened up with Kunta Kinte going through the rites of passage.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? There's always been in part of that is in manhood.
Yeah.
But also in Africa they had the womanhood.
Yeah.
In other words, until you went through the rites of passage, you will be a child all your life if you did not make it through the rites of passage. And part of that was rites of passage that prepared you to defend your home, rites of passage that prepared you to survive off the land, rites of passage that prepared you to build or construct lodging for your family.
Yeah.
In other words, all these things you learn, because they would take the certain age, they would take the boys away from the village, and they would campsite, and they would put them through, martial arts, different, the art, different arts, sports, because sports origin really came out the martial arts kind of vibe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. Yeah, so what I said was that the root story opened with Kunta Kinte. The problem we have today is the rites of passage historically for Black people was prep for man and womanhood. To continue our civilization and traditions as a religious duty to defend, provide, and guide our race in assuring the improvement of our civilization. Unfortunately, the Ma'afa destroyed the spirit of esoterical purpose of our life. Now, do you have any questions about it? Do you understand what that means?
Yeah, the esoterical being kind of a higher purpose, I guess, beyond.
Okay. Okay. Now, because it interfered with enslavement, okay, we took institutions designed to continue our enslavement, such as churches, fraternities, family structures, economic system, diets, and fashions. We are reformed many of them to support our aspiration to assimilate as Black Euro-American. In other words, our structures were destroyed. So what we did was we took the structures that we had and we imposed our our needs, and just like with the fraternities. The Divine Nine fraternities were designed to prepare college-educated males and females into being a credit to their race.
Yeah.
To basically provide leadership and to build our society. That's what it's all about. You can't be no whip. And I mean, so you're gonna have to be challenged. Okay, now. So we went on to say that we have a reformed men of them to support our aspiration to assimilate as Black Euro-Americans. However, when we lost our racial identity, okay, we took on the values and mindset of our oppressors, thus now becoming self-destructive practices that we call hazing. In the early days of fraternities, hazing was a rite of passage to promote manhood, physical, mental, emotional maturity for the task of preparing us to stand strong to fight for our liberation through all fields of human endeavors. Yeah. This is why other organizations cringe when many refer to, I'll skip that part, that gets a little personal. Yet mature enough to grasp, in other words, it's just like this, okay, gangs.
That was the other thing.
Okay, the thing about the difference between gangs is a negative rite of passage.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I mean, one passage was designed, okay, to help you become better at building your society, but then you had others that was detrimental to your society and the other practices. And so what happened was that among particularly Black fraternity life, there was a point in time whereby hazing was done. It was done, for lack of a better term, it's always been some mistakes, but it was done tastefully.
Yeah.
I mean, you were challenged. I mean, and so you felt good about it, just like joining the football team.
Exactly.
Joining the band. I mean, that's a rite of passage.
Tryouts.
Try baseball. That's same thing. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Okay. So the whole notion is that in the meantime, guys, give us some more basic training right here for the end of the job. That's a rite of passage.
Absolutely.
See, basic training. So therefore, some people, the idea is that when they come through basic training, they get a little, they feel like, okay, I don't ride now.
Yeah, private.
I can take a wife now. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you don't go through the rites of passage, then you can't have my daughter.
Exactly.
I mean, you ain't stepped up yet. So the wake up call should be to stop hazing and return to making brothers who can and will defend our honor as leaders for our self preservation. In other words, hazing has become, I don't like you, and now that you're pledging, I'm gonna take out, take out, like that, because I want to, that now it's not about you. Exactly. It's about, at the end of the day, you're gonna be, it's just like on the football team, you're gonna compete, but at the end of the day, we all on the same football team. Exactly. So why do I want to cripple you and I need you to help win the game?
Exactly.
So therefore, the hazing is to make you better, not make you worse. Yeah. And so that's kind of my thing is that, and my thing is that I think that as there needs to be some real full-throated meetings about, not how to put back the rites of passage spirit into the process, as opposed to hazing where people get killed or you want to hurt people. In other words, it shouldn't be it at all. I mean it's in other words, it's just like as an older brother, you got a younger brother, you're gonna make him tough. Exactly. That's your baby brother. So, I mean, you ain't trying to kill him. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You trying to make him tough so that
more refined.
Yeah. So therefore he'll be able to step up and won't nobody be able to bully him. Blah 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 blah. In other words, he'll be able to hold his own. So you're gonna be tough on him. But you're trying to build him up though. You're not trying to break him down.
Yeah,
okay?
absolutely.
And I think that what happened is that when the gang culture started taking form in our communities across America, my thing is that's when the gang culture started moving into the fraternity culture. Yeah. And that's where hazing become more. I mean, you always had the challenges, but like I said, that after when it was all over, you hug and everything, and you understood. Okay, now we all one bond. But these days, I mean, it's almost like, well, my chapter is a gang, and your chapter is a gang. I mean, it's like because we grew up in those environments, so we brought that attitude into the collegiate environment.
Exactly. That's I'm about to say. I can see what you mean. It's slowly those two mindsets start to get merged.
Right. Because the identity, the cultural identity was not there any longer. In other words, back in my time, the movement was going on, the Black Power movement was going on. So therefore, you had that kind of a vibe. You had to be tough, and they're gonna put you through some things, but
they're gonna put you more than what we gonna put you.
Exactly, that part. So I'm saying, so therefore, you got to be ready.
Exactly.
You got to stay ready. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So and to protect our
lives,
right, our lives and our communities, our honor, that type of thing. Yeah. So that's kind of we are there. Hotline number 706-221-4830, 706-221-4830. If you want to call in, if not, then of course, so be it. But we're here to have an open community discussion. And again, I don't know what, by the way, I think, is it tonight that they're supposed to be having a post-legislative South Columbus library, I heard somewhere, about that's supposed to be a meeting with the state delegation. They're supposed to be doing a report on what they had accomplished this last legislative situation.
I believe I did see something happen at South Columbus Library.
Okay, I wasn't sure it was the day or tomorrow. I wasn't sure, but this is but I guess my recent thought that came about. Now on Facebook, and we're gonna wrap it up here. But on Facebook, I had heard this lady. People always, in our community, and she was a older person. But she was talking about, she think that who came first, the chicken or the egg? I mean, did the female come first or did the male come first? Yeah. I mean, the bottom line is that there's an order in the universe, and we weren't there, and we just got to respect the order. And that if you understand divine law, then there's certain things. So I wrote that in response. And the only thing I said was, there's something, it's like, see, I don't throw out the baby with bathwater. There's some things she was saying made sense, but the other thing didn't make sense. So I said, you have much knowledge with no understanding. We are godly when we unite as one, meaning males and females. Throughout nature, male, female energy exists to procreate. For procreation, when we bond, when the bonding is the procreation process, the divine bond. Okay, and I said you are ignorant when you place gender over race. In other words, okay, we are the same people. So I mean, it doesn't really matter whether or not. The male come into existence first, and the female. Well, again, the existence and the order and your role is already prescribed in nature. So therefore, my point was that, that we're here to work together. We're one. We're only worthy of anything if we're one. So that it don't make no sense. Well, if we were here first as males, it wasn't no fun. And if they were here first, it wasn't no fun. I mean, so therefore, the bottom line is it really didn't get started till we came together. Exactly. Okay. So that was my point. So I went on to say that you are ignorant when you place gender over race. And I think the same thing many times when we have with people about, homosexuality and things of that sort. My thing is that it don't bother me. I mean, look, do what you're gonna do. But my problem is this: when you place gender over race. I don't think you should place gender because you don't know what gender the person going to have, but you know if you look at the parents, you know what their origin, what their ancestry is.
exactly.
So ancestors should overrule gender. That's what I'm saying. Okay,
absolutely.
and so therefore that to me that's backwards when we got people debating about my thing debating about putting place in gender as being more important than our ancestry. Okay, so I go on to say here, when you play, the earth becomes a stone when there's no light or air to inspire it. Meaning that the stone is a lady. Well, I'm never going to read the rest of it. Air inspire the earth. I'm going to say the earth becomes a stone. In esoteric knowledge, the female is the earth. I mean, the female is the earth, the mother nature. The earth. Okay, the matter, the body.
Yes.
Okay. Now, and I go on to say that it took the light to inspire the earth to be fertile and prosperous. In other words, the sperm of the male is the seed of life, the light. So I'm saying that if there were no light, then the earth wouldn't be able to produce anything. Because at the end of the day, that's what life. Where there's not the proper light, then there ain't nothing growing.
Exactly.
Okay. So the same thing. That if the earth and the light don't come together, with the water, the earth, the males esoterically is air and light.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So when air and light meet water and earth, that's where you got life. Okay, that's I didn't do it. That's divine law.
Yeah, right.
I said there are only barren females when there are no males to give them a purpose. What do I mean by that? A female is barren, really non-existent, until the purpose is the male implants the sperm or the light. Then that's what causes the birth process. That starts. So therefore, now that purpose. Now for the next 9 months, your purpose is to make sure this baby come out you ready to fall in line with the plan.
Exactly.
Okay. And in the meantime, I got to be building a shelter for you. I got to be doing what I need to do to make sure that we're gonna be okay. We got food to eat. We're gonna be safe, and and we're gonna be able to take care of ourselves. Okay. If there are no males to give them purpose in life, females are fulfilled by human beings who possess the Ubuntu ancestral mindset. In other words, you never become man and woman unless you embrace the Ubuntu philosophy about life, which is a man and woman understand that I am because we are, therefore I am.
Exactly.
That's at the core. Okay. If you don't think that way, then you can never be a man or woman. You will never be a man or woman unless you adopt the Ubuntu philosophy that I am because we are. Therefore, in other words, I'm incomplete without her. She's incomplete without me. And therefore, in order for us to be godly, I need her and she needs me.
Exactly.
And when we come together in that divine dance, that is what makes life what it is.
Exactly.
Okay. And so that was my quote. And that was something I was inspired by. I just want to share that with you. And and that'll be in our book too. We'll put that in the book, Yes, but be about that thick.
The manual, use
encyclopedia. Maybe we do an encyclopedia. So also I just like to say that I think that all of us in these times need to go back and study the Tuskegee plan. The Booker T. Washington put in play. That is that we should be able to grow our own food and substance. In other words, agriculture is the fundamental thing about life. In other words, that knowledge of how to go into the earth, do what you need to do to get food and substance.
Yeah.
That's what the Booker T. Washington plan was all about. You know, and so I pray that. And another thing is, like I said, that this is a time that people really need to learn how to live the Nguzo South. The 7 principles.
Yeah,
they really need to learn how to do that. And I think each week I think I'm going to start reminding people, about that as well.
I think that'd be dope. Keep it with Kwanzaa 365 lifestyle.
That part. There you go. And the other thing about it is this: we need. Now, this is my last word for today. We need to create our own Wall Street with our own businesses and stop investing. I'm tired of people talking about, well, I invest in the stock market. Is that stock market in our businesses?
Yeah, no.
I mean, we need to do it. I mean, I think that should be our number one agenda, is creating a black stock market. Put that down. You know, we need to create a black stock market. Okay, and we done some things like that, building around what it called the Piranha Tank.
Yeah.
It's modeled after the
Shark
Tank. In other words, the businesses that want to start up, they come to us, make a pitch, and we know about, we want to buy some stock in your business. You want to sell some stock like that. That's how we do it. We own some stock, and again, as long as you and that's what we're doing with the water. We're saying that, hey, look, you want to buy some stock in the water? Welcome in the water business. That's right. I mean, that's then we can have a whole warehouse full of water. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just like that. You know what I'm saying? Just like if I buy stock in Ford Motor Company, then I should be driving a Ford automobile.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, I should be using my own product.
Exactly.
So therefore, you can't lose then.
Exactly.
So I'm saying, So I know, because you invested in your own
product
well-being, and you're assuring a profit of your own business, and that's what we're saying here now. So I hope that some people kind of get what we're talking about. I know it can be. I mean, it's going to take. Again, are we too lofty? This discussion, do you think it's too lofty? Is that over people here?
I don't think it can get a lot more scientific.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep it as kind of as simple as I can. So that's what we're trying to do. But again, just remember, this is our classroom, and that's what Vision now has always been. It's been about a classroom. We're here. This is continuing education.
Entertainment.
Okay, right, edutainment, exactly. We're trying to make learning on how to live, regardless of what is. Look, we have to learn how to win in the winter. We have to learn how to win and live in the spring. We have to learn how to live in the fall, in the summer. Yeah. Of economics, of politics, of social conditions. In other words, we have to learn how to live regardless of the environment. But again, you walking around with a bathing suit and it's 0 degrees outside, and that's kind of where it is right now. Economically, it's 0 degrees, but we got a bathing suit on. Okay, so with that, I guess we're gonna get ready to call it a day. Again, any last word on your part, Julian?
Just peace and blessings, and see you next week.
All right, you heard it here. Hope everybody stay safe. And of course, it's always organized. Missouri.
Peace, soul, love, with a little sprinkle of power. Good night.
Salute. Peace to the gods. Free the land. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum. Go over the bees.